Hi, I'm Kim, and today we are going to be making a mud shake. We are going to collect some soil, we're going to add water to it, and we are going to shake it up. And then we're going to examine it and see if we can see what the different components of soil are and if they have different densities. For this activity, you will need an empty clear jar with a lid, a pickle, jam, or mayo jar, something to dig with, a spoon or a measuring cup or a trowel, a container of water, half to 1 cup of soil, paper and pencil to write your observations on. First, we will need to know a little bit about something called density. Everything around us is made of matter, or a certain amount of stuff, even you. The more matter there is in a given amount of space, the more dense it is. The less matter, the less dense. If something is more dense than water, it will sink. If it is less dense, it will float. To help us visualize this, let's take a look at a marble and a cork that are approximately the same size or approximately the same volume. Which object do you think is more dense or contains more matter and will sink? Which one is less dense and will float? Was your prediction correct? The marble sank, so it is denser than the cork. The cork floated, so it is less dense than the marble. Now let's talk about soil. Soil is made up of 4 things: sand, silt, clay, and organic matter. Different soils have different amounts of each component. The different components have different densities. Which component do you think is the most dense or will sink the fastest in water? Which component do you think is the least dense or will sink slowest or perhaps even float? Let's find out. Find a spot where you can dig up some soil. Once you find a spot, dig a half to 1 cup of soil and place it in your jar. Add water to your jar so that it covers the soil by 1 to 3 inches. Then use 2 hands to shake it up, and I mean really shake it. Right now, the 4 components of your soil are all mixed up and sticking together. We are going to try and shake the sand, silt, clay, and organic matter apart. Keep on shaking. Shake vigorously for at least 1 minute. 2 or 3 minutes is even better. Now set your jar down on a flat surface and don't move it again. Can you see something starting to settle out on the bottom? What does it look like? Does it look grainy like sand? Within 1 to 2 minutes, you can see the sand has settled. If the sand settled first, does that make it the most or the least dense component of soil? Think back to the marble. It is the most dense, right? Now continue to watch the soil settle. After another 5 or 10 minutes, you will be able to see another layer that has settled in the jar. Do you know what component this is? It is the silt. Now you can see the water is still dirty looking. What component of soil do you think is still floating in the water? That's right, it's the clay. So now, what is the least dense component that is floating on top? You're right, organic matter is the only one that's left. Organic matter is the least dense component of soil. It is even less dense than water, and that is why it floats. You can leave your jar untouched for several hours to even days to continue to observe any changes that may occur. Does some of the clay start to settle and form a layer on top of the silt? Do any other changes occur? Did you know that soils all over the world are made from different amounts of these 4 components? Some soils have a lot of sand, while others have more clay, silt, or organic matter. Do you think different soils are better or worse for some things? Are soils that are good for farming also good for supporting roads or buildings? What do you think? It can be really fun to make another mud shake with soil from a different location. If you have multiple clear containers, you can even do a few at the same time and then compare how the different layers of sand, silt, clay, and organic matter look in each container. If you have trouble seeing all 4 components of the soil, that's okay. Soils are different. All right, let's review. What did you notice about the mud shake you made? Which soil component was the densest? Which was the least dense? Can you draw a picture of your jar and label the layers you observed in your mud shake? You might like to draw another picture after it has settled for 24 hours or even longer. This activity is from our second grade Dirt Detectives lesson, but making mud shakes and observing the various parts of soil can be enjoyed by all ages.